Just when you thought the holidays were going to come around without any news about the Xbox or the PlayStation 5, we get this massive rumor that's floating around surrounding the Halo Infinite development team and what they're working on. And you've seen me make multiple videos about Xbox's next generation Halo Infinite game and how it's been delayed. Not to mention 343 Industries and their new leadership on the game have said they'll have massive graphical overhauls on the game. And they promise to fix all the problems we saw with the demo back in the July show from a visual standpoint. While the campaign is reportedly a lot of fun, the main concern with fans has always been the graphical fidelity of the game, and if the last generation hardware was holding it back. Well, there's a rumor coming out now that suggests the next Halo game will be skipping the Xbox One consoles altogether. This is being reported because of a LinkedIn account from one of the developers on 343's team has suggested this in their profile. Now, I want to say this is just a rumor and we should all take this with a massive, and I mean massive, grain of salt. But we also have to think about what could be the biggest obstacles for the development team when they're working on the Halo Infinite game the next year coming up. Not only do they have to create almost 3 versions of the game, which are PC, the Series X versions, and of course the Xbox One consoles, but they also have to implement a new engine in the Slipspace engine, so this all might be too much for 343, and I wonder if they truly did scrap the last generation versions of this game, and that's why they needed a full year before they released the game. Either way, let's get into this article because there's a lot to cover, and I have a feeling that some of these rumors might hold some water, because we all know that after a massive delay like this, developers discuss everything as an option so they can release the best possible game they're going to create, especially after what happened to Cyberpunk 2077, where we see the last generation hardware really hurt the company and of course the trust CD Projekt Red built with gamers. So let's get into this write-up and see if Halo Infinite is going to be an Xbox Series X and PC exclusive game, or will it come to all the consoles like it was planned to originally? But first, like always, if you like the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Alright, enough of that, let's get into this massive Halo Infinite news, because truly, it kinda caught me by surprise to see this. I say that because 343 Industries just put out a massive write-up talking about the improvements they want to implement on the game, and how the delay of a year is going to help them meet those demands they've set, which are going to be massive graphical overhauls, not to mention next generation features that just weren't ready to launch with the Xbox Series X. So this next year in 2021 is going to be a huge year for the development team, and we all know they're going to be working hard, making the game feel and look better for us gamers. And of course they have to, because the gameplay they showed in July could have been much better. It looked like a lot of fun, but the game from a graphical standpoint could have been a lot better, to which a lot of the people and gamers blamed the older hardware on. And it would seem that problem might be taken care of. Here's what the article has to say on the situation. According to the LinkedIn profile of Chad Mershak, UI art lead on Halo Infinite, the development team is currently wrapping up the game for Xbox Series X, S, and PC, which suggests the Xbox One version has been dropped. Alright, so first of all, this is just one developer out of the hundreds of developers at 343 Industries, and it would seem that his posting on LinkedIn is just a personal write-up. Not to mention, it could be that he's only working on the PC version of the game because that's what his team is delegated to, or even the next generation version. So again, this is all very fluid, and I have a feeling 343 Industries is going to clear things up as time goes on. But let's dive back into the article and what they had to say on the matter. Microsoft's next blockbuster title, Halo Infinite, is planned to release on both current-gen and last-gen platforms, which of course includes Xbox One and Xbox Series X, S consoles. On top of this, Halo Infinite is also arriving to PC platforms and will be on Game Pass on day one, which is certainly great news. However, after the poor gameplay showcase back in June and a long delay which pushed the release date to autumn 2021, many Halo Infinite fans suggested that Microsoft and 343 Industries should drop the last gen version of the game and focus on the PC and Xbox Series X, S ones. So like I pointed out earlier in the video, we all know that Xbox just put out a massive write-up talking about the graphical overhaul on Halo Infinite, and they also mentioned that the delay would help them get a lot of the next generation features put into the game. I made a video about this talking about the graphical overhaul they were putting into Halo Infinite, but the one thing I didn't really realize is that they only talked about the next generation features. In fact, when you look back on the write-up and the information dump they put out, it did focus on the next gen versions of the game. And from what we've seen from Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, and even Sony's first-party output, the consoles they concentrate on are the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, because those will put the games in the best possible light and bring out the best graphical output we can see as gamers. And since we know that Halo Infinite in July wasn't shown on an Xbox Series X console, because the console didn't go into development hardware-wise until late August, we can see that the version being shown in July was the Xbox One X and the Xbox One version of the game. This would explain a lot of the missing details and the graphical mishaps we saw, which brings up the question that the Xbox One console might be the version Xbox doesn't want to support anymore because it brings too much problems on the developers. And that's something that the article brings up, but also mentions that a publisher or developers haven't commented on this rumor. Here's what the article had to say. The publisher are yet to officially announce if they plan any changes, so it's safe to say that Halo Infinite is still coming to all previously announced platforms. However, according to the latest rumors which surfaced on Twitter, the game may not come to last gen after all. The rumor started after some Twitter users found a LinkedIn profile of Chad Mershak, UI art lead on Halo Infinite. In the profile description, there is an interesting bit which suggests the game is currently in the works, only for Xbox Series X, S, and PC. And here's what the profile had to say on LinkedIn. Microsoft, where he is currently wrapping up Halo Infinite on Xbox Series X and PC. It's written in the About section on Chad's profile. So the one thing I'm glad the article mentions is that 343 Industries or Microsoft and Xbox haven't said one thing about this. In fact, they've been a little quiet about it. Who knows, by the time you watch this video, they could have said it's coming to Xbox One. So again, you have to wait for things to be confirmed before running around saying this is all facts. It's why I keep saying take this with a huge grain of salt, because things are very fluid. But let's circle around to the statement from Chad's profile, the developers that's working on the Halo Infinite game. In LinkedIn, people are given the freedom to put whatever they want as their working titles and descriptions. Now, this person is obviously updating their profile and putting the most recent things they've been working on, which if you look at it, it's obviously the next generation Halo Infinite game along with the PC version. But that doesn't mean the Xbox One version is going to be scrapped or canceled. But this wording does indicate that it could be something internally discussed at 343 Industries and Xbox, especially in today's gaming climate. We know that Cyberpunk 2077 launched horribly, and I truly mean horribly, on the base Xbox One and PS4 consoles, to the point where people are going to be maybe taking class action lawsuits against CD Projekt Red. Not to mention all the refunds that have been put in for that game. So this might make developers a little weary about putting games on a base console, especially if all they show is gameplay from high-end PCs or the next generation consoles. This could be a problem we continue to see, especially since Sony and Xbox have discussed supporting the older hardware for years to come. Sony even saying they'll support the hardware for up to 3 or 4 years. That means games like Horizon 2 and God of War are going to be playable on the PS4 and the PS5. Yet when they show the game, we will obviously get the best version so they can put the game in the best possible light, which is the PS5 or the Series X. Which brings us back to the article and what it had to say about this rumor and what people should take away from Chad's profile. Here's what it says. Before you get disappointed or excited by this, we suggest you take it with a grain of salt, since it probably means absolutely nothing. We doubt Microsoft are ready to drop the last version of Halo Infinite, since not many players got their hands on the new consoles due to stock shortages. There are millions of players still on Xbox One, and at the moment, it seems perfectly reasonable to offer them the chance to play the game without spending money on a new console. And this is where I'm really starting to lean. I do believe there is discussions within Xbox that suggest they should drop the old hardware, and considering the game is delayed till late 2021, it would give gamers and millions of gamers plenty of time to buy a new Xbox Series X or S console. But that still doesn't hide the fact that there's close to 50 million Xbox One consoles out there, and people want to play Halo on them. But then we have the millions upon millions of gamers on PC that Halo released on also. Xbox to me is in a unique position because they can drop the Xbox One versions if they think the launch will look like Cyberpunk's launch, because they will have the PC version that will sell millions and the Xbox Series X version that will sell again millions. But most of all, they'll have Xbox Game Pass, where they can drop the game in there and just let people play it the way they want. As for me, I think it's going to come to Xbox One because they've developed the game for the last 5 years and they'll have extra time now to really hone in on the graphics and performance of the game for either console. Let's hope they'll be able to do that, especially with how games have launched on the new consoles as of late. I never want to see a Cyberpunk disaster again. It's bad for developers and it's bad for gaming. If 343 needs to drop the base versions to do that, then more power to them. If not, and all they need is extra time with the development, give them extra time. Either way, I'm going to play this game on my Series X and my PC, because that's how I love to play my Xbox games. Any way I choose to play them. But enough of what I think about all this, tell me what you think about all this. Do you think Halo is canceled on the Xbox One? Do you want the game to be next gen only? Does this make sense since it's going to be on PC? Are we going to get another Cyberpunk 2077 on our hands? What other games do you think will be canceled on the older hardware? Does this make sense considering these games have been developed for old hardware anyway? How long can Sony and Xbox and third party truly support the older hardware? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. Like I've said before, I just finished Immortals Phoenix Rising. That game is great. Everybody check it out. I love it. My personal game of the year, and I just think it's a lot of fun. It makes me just feel so cool and feel like a god. But also, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That game is a lot of fun. Been doing a lot of zombies and multiplayer, and I just started the campaign, which is really intense. The first mission alone was a lot of fun. Plus, the game looks insane graphically. I really suggest everybody check that Call of Duty out because I'm actually enjoying it. But let me know what you're playing. Go down below. Are you working on games on your PS5, your Xbox Series X, your PC? Are you playing Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed, Immortals, or Call of Duty? Let me know. I'd love to know what everybody's playing. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.